Farmageddon will be the first Big 12 game that has availability reports. That's huge, and we're going to know exactly who is in and who is out before the first game of the season, right here on Farmageddon Friday.
You are Locked On College Crossover, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Yes, hit me with that beat, Nick. It's a Farmageddon Friday, Locked On College Crossover, Locked On Kansas State, and Locked On Cyclones. I'm Christian Rao here with Nick Maravets, and we are bringing you coverage for the most exciting game coming for the college football season. It's definitely the first. It's the first in your heart and the first on the scoreboard. It's going to be exciting stuff. August 23rd, noon Eastern. Lots of exciting stuff to talk about on this episode. Availability reports are out for the Big 12. Then we have to ask the question, because I'm starting to hear some rumblings, and I want to hear Nick's opinion on, are we sleeping on this wide receiver group after the obvious of what happened with the wide receiver group of the Cyclones last year? And then I got some questions about the new arms race of college athletics. We're going to dive into all of that on today's episode. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel, because guess what, folks? We all know this, but football season is right around the corner, literally. Visit the FanDuel app today. Start planning your future bets now. Nick, we got some fun stuff to talk about today, and the first one is availability reports. The Big 12 finally gets on board. I think that's the best way to say this, and we talk about our friends at FanDuel. This really ties right in with our friends at FanDuel, because player availability reports for the first time. They will release player availability reports for football, for men and women's basketball, before all conference games. The conference announced on Wednesday. So they're now joining all the rest of the Power Four. Conferences are doing that as well. We're going to get some names and designated as available, probable, questionable, doubtful, or out. This will help. This is a gambling aspect. This is absolutely what this is for. But it'll be fun for storylines for us on Locked On Cyclones, Locked On Kansas State. We're going to make sure we can talk about those stories heading into the game. Before we dive deeper into this, what do you think about it?
It is absolutely driven by gambling, and I don't know how much I love I'm 50-50 on this, with like how much should it affect the game. Personally, I don't love the immediate, ridiculous infiltration of gambling, but I do think Parker Ainsworth made a really good point. I believe it was Parker on the Squad Show, came out yesterday talking about gambling now being higher tech is actually somehow, in some ways at least, protecting the sport because it is so highly monitored. Kind of that comes with that is that it's going to be everywhere. It's going to be all over your TV. It's just, that is kind of the name of the game. Gambling is huge. And so I don't know how much I necessarily love that this comes from, this is absolutely coming from gambling, no doubt. But on the bright side, now there's not really a ton of question marks going into games, or I guess it would be if there's questionable, but at least where on the scale is each player landing, right? With Momcilovic's hand, is he questionable, or is he probable, or is he doubtful? Where are these guys landing? It gives us at least an idea going into games, as opposed to well, he's either going to play or he's not. So those are kind of the two options. And it's what? How am I supposed to react to that?
I can only imagine what Bill Snyder would think right now. If he had to give us availability reports in the opening presses before the games. No, we're not doing that. That's not happening. Everyone's fine. Don't worry about it. Move on. Write what you want to write about that. That's what he would totally say. But this is a new world, and we're seeing that. So beginning this season, Big 12 football teams will submit daily injury. That's an interesting one. Daily injury and player availability reports starting 3 days before each conference game. So a Saturday game, you'll start getting them on Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. If it's a Friday game, like Kansas State, Arizona plays at one time, you'll start getting them on Tuesdays. Final reports are due 90 minutes before the start of each game. So conference game, Iowa State, Kansas State. That means next week, probably Wednesday, I'm guessing, unless they count Saturday as the third day, but I'm guessing it's Wednesday, we will get our first availability report for the game in Farmageddon. Interesting stuff that we're about to happen. Now, this also is going to happen for the men's and women's basketball teams, as we mentioned. That'll be reports that'll be the night before conference games, and then final reports again 90 minutes before tip-off. So interesting stuff here. But Farmageddon, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, we are going to get some new stuff coming in to availability reports, lots of stuff, exciting things.
Very exciting. It takes me back a little bit to like 90 minutes before kickoff. Like, make sure your assignments are in at 11:59. Like, maybe it's just because it's in my recent memory, but it takes me back a little bit. I think if this was done last year, Iowa State probably would have had to hire a specific role, a specific staff, just to write up Iowa State's injury report from last year, and especially in football, and not so much in basketball, obviously. But hoping that this year it's not quite the same. If it is, at least we'll have a better pulse on it. And as far as your point for, playing or doing this for football and basketball, I am more interested, I think, on the basketball side of things, at least for Iowa State, just because you've got guys like Taman that are constantly battling with stuff. And for me personally, I don't know if this is every Iowa State fan, but like every game, I'm like, is this like, where is he at mentally, physically? I just can't really put a good gauge on it. I just assume he's going to be fine because Taman is Taman. He's a complete dog. So I think this is for the betterment of the fans and for obviously you and I here at Locked On. But I do want to throw this back in here. I don't necessarily love the origin reason here. Like I know exactly why, and I know that there is a bright side, but let's keep it. Something I think is worth saying.
Yeah, fair enough. I mean, how ironic would it be if Hunter Deckers came on an availability report, right? So lots of exciting stuff that you have here. Hey, another thing that the Big 12 passed, this passed 15-1 just the other day, the 15-1 to solidify an existing game management policy. Ross Dellinger reports here that solidify an existing game management policy related to throwing of items onto the playing surface. A team will receive warnings for the first 2 violations in a game before the 15-yard penalties could begin. 15-1. I'm guessing that one team that said no is probably Texas Tech. Those fans want to throw those tortillas out on the field so much. They want to do it, but I don't think that's going to happen anymore. Now, I'm going to say this. Now, Kansas State plays Texas Tech in Manhattan this year, so we don't get to find out if it's going to happen. But I think that Texas Tech is just going to be okay with getting that one warning, and they're going to throw all those tortillas at one time. Like, I think it's still happening. Like, 3 strikes, you're out. They're just not going to have 3 moments of tortillas. Like, I think you're getting tortillas still in the Big 12.
Absolutely. I did see this graphic, so I'll bring this up here. This is from Front Office Sports.
Okay.
This, I guess, is the Texas Tech AD Kirby Hocutt saying that the rules can change, but our tradition will not. Ooh. That makes me so happy. What a cool tradition for Texas Tech, obviously, getting to throw those tortillas out there. And I'll say this, like, I'm sure this stems from, what was it, Texas, Georgia, I believe, that the water bottles were getting thrown out on the field. I can't remember exactly what game it was, but I remember it happening. And this is obviously, I'm sure, in response to that. How often is this happening? That happened, and the entire sports world went into flames. Like, this is not something that happens very often. Texas Tech is going to be just fine here. And to keep one of the great traditions in college football alive, it's like, okay, now you're starting with 2 strikes, I guess, for every game. But how often are you even getting 1? So, like, I think we're probably going to be just fine.
Yeah, we'll see how long the strike system actually works. I mean, we started banning horns down. Then it goes to water bottles. As long as it doesn't go as far as what WNBA games are happening right now, I think we have no worries whatsoever. I mean, that's probably the biggest thing that they're worried about in the future. Hey, we got plenty more to talk about on this episode of Farmageddon Friday. If you're not already, hit that subscribe button on Locked On Cyclones, Locked On Kansas State, because guess what? Nick and I are bringing you multiple episodes all the way up till double, and we're going to have a couple times, not just Fridays. We're going to join a couple times this next week, because there's a lot to talk about on this one. Speaking of a lot to talk about, I am wondering, and I want to know if you believe it as well, are we sleeping on the Iowa State wide receivers? And if so, what does Kansas State need to do with a secondary, dare I say, is unproven? We'll talk about that next on a Locked On College crossover of Locked On Kansas State and Locked On Cyclones. As summer winds down, there is something nice to get back in the routine that you love. And Wayfair makes it easy to set yourself up for the season ahead. For bedding, linen, storage solutions for every room, Wayfair is just that one-stop shop to refresh your home. Nick, I know you have been in the transfers and moving all over the place. I just bought a house. I just bought a brand new sectional, and I used Wayfair to find it. And let me tell you what, this one was great. You get to sit down on it. It's comfy. I'm getting not enough work done. I was sick last week. It was perfect time to get that couch in. You know what I like about this one? The sectional pieces lift up and you can put pillows and stuff underneath there. My 3-year-old has put Legos in them, but I like to put pillows and linens. Either way, Wayfair is giving some great products. I really like what you got there. So get organized if you want to put some pillows underneath your couches or possibly Legos as well. Get refreshed and get back into a routine for way less. Head to wayfair.com right now for all things home. WAYFAIR.com. Wayfair. Every style, every home. Welcome back to this Locked On College crossover, Farmageddon Friday, Locked On Kansas State, Locked On Cyclones, Nick Maravets, Christian Rao here. And I got to ask the question. I know we have did the entire positional breakdown for the last few weeks on this show with you and I, but I think maybe I overshadowed something. At least it sounds like that from what we're hearing from Iowa State coaches in the pressers and the interviews over the last week heading into this. Yes, I, Kansas State host, listening to Iowa State pressers. That's exactly what you're supposed to do when the opponent is coming to town, right? So just want to put that in perspective. I'm hearing a lot of buzz about the wide receiver group, Nick. I am absolutely hearing it. And obviously that is the biggest question mark that I have of what the Cyclones are going to be heading into this new year, because 167 receptions are no longer there with 2 wide receivers. Now you bring in some transfers, you bring in some new guys. There's a lot of questions if Rocco Beck is the guy. Is Rocco Beck the guy, or was he the guy because of the wide receivers? Like, there is that question mark. And I want to know, is it overshadowed? Are we underestimating them? Or is that buzz possibly just a little bit of, dare I say, smoke with Guinness?
Oh, I see what you did there. I'm not going to lie to you. This conversation, like, I want to get up and run around this room right behind me. I'm so fired up. Like, football is so close, bro.
It's so close,
I'm
baby.
so hyped. I'm so hyped for this game. But to answer your question, are the wide receivers overlooked? Are they, kind of, what was the other one? You kind of just overlooked is the best word.
Overlooked, overshadowed,
overshadowed,
underestimated.
Underestimated. Thank you.
Underappreciated.
I was so locked in on the fact that these wide receivers are probably going to have a combined 3,500 yards this year that I couldn't remember the words. That is the best word for it. Yes, they are absolutely overshadowed. They are being underestimated to the max. And I think that if you were to ask one person on the entire planet that you had to get the same answer from me, it would be Taylor Mauser. Taylor Mauser, the OC for Iowa State, shocked me this week when he said that these wide receivers right now, this might be the best group of wide receivers we've had since he got to Iowa State. Now, he was the OC last year. So with Higgins and Noel on the team, he compared basically that room to this room and said, yeah, this team, I think these guys are better. Whoa. First, like,
better?
Yeah, he said this is the best wide receiver room since he's been here. I was like, I genuinely paused the video, walked around. I had to clear my head. I'm like, did I hear that correctly? There's no way. And so then I played it back. Sure enough, that's what he said. He's very excited about a lot of these guys. Obviously, Chase Sowell and Xavier Townsend are the two that we just won't stop talking about. For one reason, they're transfers in, right? So they're new to the program. We're not exactly sure what they're going to do at the Power 4 level. But the other interesting wrinkle is that they're both almost identical in size to Higgins and Noel. Like, they just match in perfectly. And so it became this immediate, are we just going to use them the same way that we did Higgins and Noel? Like, this just seems to be a perfect match. And then it was, no, we are our own people. Like, we're different wide receivers. We're going to play this differently. And Xavier Townsend might be some sort of kind of Swiss Army knife, like all over the field, in the slot, in the backfield, in motion. We're flying him up the seam. Like, we don't know exactly. Is Chase Sowell the big, huge catch radius guy, or is he quick in the slant? Like, we don't know exactly what we're going to get from these guys. So those two have been the most talked about. Then you've also got guys like Brett Eskelson, Eli Green, a couple of other names in that wide receiver room that have been thrown around, but Brett Eskelson is by far number 3 as far as times mentioned. Just from what I'm hearing, like, these guys are ready. And Taylor Mauser said that These guys don't look new, especially Chase and X. These guys look like they've been in the program for years. They know the offense well. They're first in, last out, getting extra reps, spending extra time with coaches, learning not only their possession, but what the entire offense is doing, which I will say, as a side note, sounds like every single position is doing that, which is only a good thing for Iowa State. I am so excited to watch the Cyclones team run around and throw the football because genuinely, I don't know if anyone's going to be able to stop them based on what I'm hearing from Mauser.
Well, you gotta still have some concern, right? I mean, 167 receptions. That's
2,300 yards.
That's a lot, man. That's a lot. So obviously, you're getting some buzz. You're getting some hype here, and I'm still
buying into it, bro.
Hey, I'm still hesitant to think that there's a little bit of smoke here. I'm wondering if it's a little bit of green smoke because of Dublin. I'm not sure. And it's I don't know if it's red smoke, black smoke. I don't know. You guys choose you got a lot of colors, right? At least you choose to have a lot of colors. What's your uncertainty index that you have right now for the wide receiver room? Because right now, when we had the positional breakdown a few weeks ago talking about the wide receiver room, if you want to go back to that full conversation, we talked about both wide receiver rooms. You can find that on either of our pages. You can check that out on Locked On Cyclones. Locked On Kansas State came out a few weeks ago for the wide receiver room. I was a little bit more concerned about those wide receivers, and you gave me a little bit of like feel good, right? To say like, hey, these wide receivers are going to be better. They're going to be okay. But now we're getting a lot more buzz. I would think that uncertainty's got a little better. So if you had the 10 scale it right now on an uncertainty index, where would you be right now for that wide receiver room heading into Dublin before you get to see them have one actual snap of football?
Yeah, I think let's just act under the assumption that 10 would be like the most concerned, just to put a number to it.
Yeah. 1 being least concerned, 10 being like this is out of control and we need to go rush the Houston Texans and put bags over the heads of Noel and bring them back and Higgins and put them in uniforms. Like that would be 10.
Oh, can we do that anyway? I just think that'd be awesome to have him back on the team. No, I think probably I'm going to put me on the spot here. Let's say about
you just put yourself on a spot. Said kidnapping is awesome, but continue.
No, Noel is awesome. We obviously want him to be where he wants to be. We know he loves Ames. I'm going to put this at probably I feel like 4 is the right number. And that's just the number that's popping in my head. And also, like, just for some reference, I think that 4 is probably the most out of the entire offense. So if you were to ask me concern about the passing game, it'd be like a 2. I'm not concerned. Rocco got better. The line got better, in my opinion. The tight ends got significantly better. I think we're going to be able to pass out of the backfield very well. Not concerned about the passing game as a whole. I'm not concerned about the quarterback. I'm not concerned about the tight ends. I'm not concerned about the line. I'm not concerned about I'm not even that concerned about the wide receivers. It's just that probably the most. Same thing as what I was talking about with the secondary, which apparently isn't the case, but you're going to have to go listen to Locked On Cyclones if you want a further deep dive on that. I think the wide receivers are probably just the most concerning because they're the least proven. And that doesn't mean that they can't do it. Everything I've heard is good. So I'm not going to put it over a 5, right? Like, I think it's just probably the most out of the entire offense.
Okay. All right. I will say this to add on to it and add a little Kansas State to this subject here. We're talking wide receivers. My uncertainty index of the secondary of Kansas State is about a 5 or a 6 right now because the only true player returning is VJ Payne. The only true known is VJ Payne. Now, for the record, I think VJ Payne is going to join Jacob Parrish and Marcus Siegel and become one of the next NFL-ready talents that Kansas State has proven to be in the secondary for NFL teams for the last 5-6 years. I think we're going to see that from VJ Payne, an NFL-ready talent that's doing it in the Big 12 this year. But other than that, you got Gunnar Maldonado coming over from Arizona. He's proven, but he hasn't really had any practice, if any practice, in Manhattan so far because he's recovering from injury. When he's on the field, he'll be a great leader. We've talked about in the past, and he'll be able to contribute, hopefully, if healthy. But then other than that, you bring in some young transfers. You also have very young players that, other than the bowl game against Rutgers, you haven't really heard of. Like, if we didn't have a bowl game against Rutgers, you wouldn't know that Zayshawn Rich had a breakout game. You wouldn't know much about Donovan McIntosh. You wouldn't know much about Jack Fabris. You wouldn't know much about these players, but they're going to have a huge role right away, August 23rd. Some of them might be starting play 1 against Rocco Beck and some of these wide receivers that are getting all this buzz. So that's exactly why I want to have this conversation, because I want to hear how uncertain you are. And it sounds like you are less uncertain than uncertain in this, because I'm a little bit on the flip side to this defensive secondary. Now, I think they're going to be great when it's all said and done, but we got to remember we're playing in a week, just over a week away.
I think that's the
game
thing
of the college football season. That's insane.
That's the thing. Yeah, is it's like these are two very, very high caliber teams, Iowa State and Kansas State. I think we could both agree on that. But the thing is, this is not week 4. This is not week 10. This is not week 14. Like, this is go time in a week. And I was just outside sweating in August heat, you know, in the humidity. Like, I know it's not here, but my point being, it's not cold. Like, I was at the Farmageddon game last year. I was wearing a winter coat and like 3 pairs of pants. This is a totally different time of year. You haven't had all season to look at tape. You haven't had all season to find out what your offense can do. I can't tell you how many times I've heard from coaches from Iowa State, we don't know what this team's going to be until like 4 games or 5 games into the season. Like, we just don't know. And that's totally normal for a coach to say, but that just means we don't have our identities at this point in the year. It's a very intriguing game.
Shout out to the Weather Channel right now. 10-day report. August 23rd in Dublin, Ireland right now. 66 degrees for a high. 55 degrees is a low. Partly cloudy. 22% chance of rain. Only an 8 mile an hour wind. So it sounds like it's going to be a pretty clear day.
Yeah.
Sounds like we're not going to have weather as something to worry about. That
Sounds
could be
like we might
another
be
big sign.
Football weather.
Sounds like we're getting good football weather to start off the season, for a noon Eastern game to start off the college football season. I mean, how excited are you? You already said you want to run through a
crying.
wall.
I'm going to start crying. I'm so excited.
Wow. Interesting stuff. Well, hold on to those tears, because we got a lot more to talk about on Farmageddon Friday here. And next, I want to discuss the new arms race of college athletics. We're getting multi-million-dollar donations. We're getting uniform changes. So much things are happening to try to manipulate to get more money to teams' rosters. Let's discuss how that can impact both our schools next, right here on this Locked On College crossover, Locked On Cyclones, Locked On Kansas State. Hey, just after the Dublin game, a few days after, August 26th, it's officially FanDuel Futures Day, a brand new holiday from FanDuel for football fans who live for bold predictions and preseason hunches. So for just 24 hours, FanDuel's giving you deals on NFL season predictions, whether you're calling for the MVP, eyeing a long shot division winner, and ready to crown your Super Bowl champ before week 1. Well, you can do that on Futures Day, August 26th. You got an idea for a Super Bowl winner right off the bat? I'm going to give you one. I don't know if you like this one or not. How about a bold one? Let's go super bold here. Since I'm in the Pacific Northwest, what about Sam Darnold and the Seattle Seahawks?
That's bold.
That's very bold. I don't even believe it. That's how bold it is. So if you want to play something like that, you can check it out on Futures Day for all those deals, because FanDuel app today. Start planning your futures bets right now. Futures Day is only one day and one day only. FanDuel, play your game. The next arms race in college athletics is here, and it's not just NIL. It's not just facilities. It's not just donors, although it seems to be a bunch of all of that. It's how schools combined it all. And it's finding ways to legally blow past the new revenue cap things of that $20.5 million from Tennessee's massive uniform changes to, unfortunately, Kansas, KU, getting $300 million towards stadiums and athletic funds for the futures. There's a lot of things happening, and quite frankly, it's raising the bar. But what I see here is not the end all. This is the arms race. This is the new arms race of college athletics, Nick. And we just got a $300 million deal from KU. In a couple of weeks, we're probably going to get 301. We got a uniform change from Tennessee, going from Nike to Adidas. For the record, who leaves Nike? That's unheard of, because of money. They're finding ways to get things to change for fans and players. I don't know if it's the best thing for fans right now, but for players, you're going to get a chance to get more money, more things off the top, just for wearing a different uniform, or because of a very healthy donor. We're going to see a lot of people come out of the woodwork here, and this is a crazy way of how college football is going to find legal ways because of this new settlement and this new cap. We talk about all these executive orders. We've seen that in the past, the president hopping in. you can't stop people from spending their money the way they want to, and that's proving it right here. What do you think about this?
I guess I would ask you a really quick question. You don't think that the donations are good for the players? Can you just elaborate on that? Did I?
Oh no, I think it's great.
incorrectly?
I think it's great. If I said it wrong, I apologize. No, I
That's
think it's
probably my
fantastic for
fault.
the players. Yeah, you're all good. No, I think it's fantastic for the players. But what I think it is that this is not the end. We're gonna find ways to look. If you're one of these college football fans that want structure, right? Like we've talked about in the past, like these executive orders, like what Donald Trump did to try and save college football. That was his title, not mine. And talking about how he wants to find structure, this new cap revenue of $20.5 million, the potential roster size of 105, like to find structure to make sure that teams like Ohio State all the way down to Cincinnati have more of a level playing field. If you're a fan of that, then you're probably not a fan of this donor power, right? Where you have these high donors like from KU. Fans like David Booth, who just secured a $300 million gift, right? It's one of the largest single donations in college sports, if not the largest. $75 million going straight to upgrades. And then the rest is going to be a permanent revenue stream that helps athletics essentially turn donor money into a long-term athletics endowment. So it's going to help athletics. It's basically giving them a fair way
Cushion.
to push past the red tape of that revenue stream. So it's interesting, but if you're a fan of the structure, this is bad for you.
That's what I was. Okay, I misspoke my brain like stopped working. I think what I heard was you didn't think this might be good for the fans, and thank you for clarifying there. I wasn't trying to. I was just mistaken. And to answer that, I think I would argue that this is good for the fans of those schools because let's say Iowa State received a $500 million donation. I think part of it too is like, how does the school actually use that money? I think Iowa State would probably, based on what I've heard from Jamie Pollard, squirrel it away and kind of get ready to use that over the next 10 years, which honest to God, like smart play. Like that's probably what Iowa State needs to do with that money, as much as it's not what I think people want to hear. But then the 20.5 doesn't become as big of an issue because you have money on top of that. And so for schools, fans of schools that are getting these donations or these uniform changes are being made, I think that those fans are elated. It's the other fans that aren't. And I myself am in that camp because the Iowa thing, I know I talked to you before the show. I said I wasn't going to bring this up. I'm going to bring it up. I think this is just perfect. Iowa has this flight funds thing where fans can just donate and then that money basically pays the athletes. And I don't know if it's directly or if it's kind of like this donation where it's inflating the income of the athletic department. I don't know. I think it's a load. Okay. That's really what it comes down to. As a school or as a fan of a school that's not happening to. So really quick CTA call to action to everyone listening here. Go hit subscribe down below at Locked On Cyclone so we can push that subscriber up enough where I can make that donation, right? Where we can push Iowa State over the hump because I'm all for it. But when you aren't on that side of it, it's frustrating because it's not fair. It's not, and especially in the state of Iowa where the Board of Regents is, it's like, it's meant to level the playing field, but if anything, it's also like dividing at the same time.
Yeah, no, that's true. K-State fans also hit that subscribe on Locked On Cyclones as well. He's almost at 1,000 subscribers, so help him get there
before the game. Before the game,
how crazy would that be? Right, that'd be insane. But look, it's changing the way that we look at college athletics. Like Phil Knight from Oregon, right? Like that's the first one that comes to my mind. And immediately when I saw this news, I was like, Oregon's going to top this. Just on Thursday night, Phil Knight came out with something. The Nike co-founder, Phil Knight, he's a big Oregon alumni. Him and his wife pledged $2 billion to Oregon University for Cancer Center. So it's the largest single gift to a U.S. university, none of it to athletics. That's why we're not bringing it up in this conversation. But it just shows that people and alumni are willing to spend their money. We see it with Campbell and Texas Tech, what they just did with their transfer portal. They're willing to spend their money to make that happen. So if you don't have a popular or famous or rich alumni, this whole $20.5 million cap is going to basically be a guideline, sure, but it doesn't mean much if you have players that are willing to spend the money. If you have someone who's willing to spend $5 million to bring a recruiting quarterback in, a 5-star quarterback, like what they did at Michigan. I think it was $5 million. They brought in the Michigan guy, the Underwood, right, to be the guy over there. So there's a lot of things. Bryce Underwood, yeah. So just a lot of things to keep in mind on here. For Kansas State and Iowa State, they can't sit back, although they might have no choice. But this arms race is a multi-front, Nick. I mean,
this is an opportunity to get creative. This is what this is.
They have to. Yeah, this is one of those things where in business, you're either a differentiator or you're a brand leader. Brand power, same thing. You're either a power leader when it comes to money or you're a differentiator. And when it comes to not having the incomes or the good. Now, look, Kansas State's NIL is good. It's good, but it's not the best. You're going to have to find a way to vary it, to make it different, and to find ways to get around the loop. Find technical loopholes to make it happen. Tennessee, a big program in the SEC, is finding that as well. Tennessee just got switched from Nike to Adidas and now is getting $20 million a year instead of, I believe, $2 million they were getting from Nike. It was either 2 or 5 that they were getting from Nike. Now they're getting $20 million a year from Adidas just for switching at uniforms and athletic gear that you're going to get out of the bookstore for those fans. Now, do fans want Adidas instead of Nikes? That's a different conversation.
Does it matter to the school, though? Like, that's where the money's going.
Apparently not for Tennessee, because what matters is they now have at least $15 million more a year to spend on their athletic budget, whether it's men's basketball, whether it's women's basketball, football, doesn't matter. And they're still going to get more from that because that shows you, especially initially, true fans are going to be like, I have a Nike polo now. Tennessee's Adidas. I got to go get the Adidas polo.
Great scarcity.
That happens. 100% does. Kansas State and Iowa State need to get different. They need to get unique. You're absolutely right. I don't know what it is. I don't know what it can be, but there's plenty of opportunities out there. It's endless. We're seeing it right now every single day when it comes to donors, when it comes to changing uniforms. That $20.5 million cap is going to turn into a laughingstock number in the next 3 years. Like, it's going to be like, remember when we thought there was going to be a cap? Ha ha. Like, that's what's going to happen.
Yeah, no, I agree. And to your point, like, Iowa State, Kansas State have to get creative. It's like fend for yourself or you will, like, what do they say? It's like you have to eat or you'll die. Well, I can't remember what that is, where it's
adapt
like
or
you just have to adapt or die. Yeah, like you have to figure it out or else you are going to be like a UNI, as Jamie Pollard said. I don't know exactly what the answer is, but I'm not going to say it even if I did. I feel like that's worth so much money. I'm not just going to throw that out there on the internet, but you have to. You absolutely have to. This is not like we'll wait 2-3 years. Like, that's kind of the vibe I'm getting from Iowa State is like, we're going to wait till we're almost out of money and then we'll like figure this out. You need to be on this like yesterday.
Yeah.
Right now.
Yes. Yep. 100%. Hey, Nick, guess what? Next time you and I talk, it'll be game week.
Let's go. Oh, man, dude. You're getting me too pumped up. I got to go to bed soon.
Nah, not allowed to do that. And folks, we are going to give you a Farmageddon Friday also in the middle of the week. We're going to be back twice. We're going to give you 2 Farmageddon episodes next week heading up to the game. We will have the official Farmageddon Friday where you get our predictions and stuff, but we'll also have one early, maybe when the availability reports come out, something like that. But one will come out maybe, I believe right now we're shooting for Wednesday and Friday for the Farmageddon shows, but the first one might change a little bit. Definitely getting the one on Friday. You're going to get 2, though, from both of us. So lots of stuff going on. Nick and I will also be on Locked On College Football. So be sure to hit that subscribe with Spencer McLaughlin. We'll be on that episode coming up later on this week. I'm sure you'll hear some stuff over on the Locked On Big 12 channel with Drake Toll between the two of us. Lots of stuff for Farmageddon. If you are a Kansas State or Iowa State fan, be sure to tune into the Locked On Podcast Network because we are going to have plenty of coverage leading all the way up and through and after the first college football game of the season.
We made it.
Can't wait. All right, folks. Thank you so much for listening. Please like the video. Please subscribe. And this has been Farmageddon Friday.
Can't believe we're here.
Run through a brick wall.
My walls are not safe in here.